Okay, welcome back to the end of the 2 p.m. turn, 1400. It's the 160th playthrough of the second battle of Winchester. It was in the Death Valley, battles for the Shenandoah, great battles of the American Civil War series. So we're up to the fourth turn, which is 2 p.m., as I just said. And we've got some interesting stuff going on. Hopefully you saw the short playthrough of Early's AM that I did before, kind of showing you the first AM there. That was quite fun. I had a classic situation there. Tried to get everything good on that, but as you saw, I had to do a little bit of a post-production add-in to the video. But anyways, it worked out well. I had fun with it, and it's all good. So here's how it actually played out here. So the initiative won by the Confederates again. Efficiencies 2 for the Confederates, 3 for the Union. Modified the Union to 4, and 3 for Early, and 0 for Johnson. So that's how we wound up with our AMs that we see over here. Early was chosen as the first one, which we saw in our other video. Had quite a successful attack and follow-up, which we'll see here in a moment. Then it was followed by Milroy, Johnson, Milroy, Johnson. So Johnson came out quite early. Excuse the pun there. And was able to do some things we'll show you over here as well. We also got the march order up early and actually got Gordon moving again, which was good. And then followed by Early, Milroy, Early to finish it off here. But the trailing ones really didn't do much. A lot of recoveries from the battles. So let's take a look at the big board over here, and we'll show you where we're at with everything. So let's come back over here just a tad. And first thing you'll notice with our setup now is that we have Gordon. Gordon was over here, had the march move, which I just mentioned, and I opted to actually bring him over to get him back in command. I was afraid he was going to fail once again over here on the left, and he'll be stuck out here, and we'd lose half of Early's command that was coming in here. So I opted to bring him over, get him in command. As you can see now, he's very easily in command. So next turn, he can either continue with march and go up the Valley Pike, or drop into advance and support Hayes's attack. Now we also see here with Hayes, and let me just zoom in on this so you can see, because if you watch my other video, he had a very successful attack on the center and pushed back the 123rd Ohio, routed one of the battalions, and you can see subsequently have pushed up the pike. Now he was in attack mode, so he couldn't move very fast, and Elliott over here was able to retreat his battalion that was there and keep it in good order, moving back up here. But because of that, the 12th Pennsylvania cavalry detachment that was up on the hill pulled back. We gave up that hex, and Herbert's troops, Herbert's horsemen actually, came up and captured it and are sitting on top of it now. Meanwhile, Herbert has moved up to still keep engaged with the 12th Pennsylvania, as well as to try to flank Elliott up here to get by this speed bump, because the Early still has to make it up here. He's got to get past some units up to the north here, and let me actually tilt you up here so you can see it a little bit. I know I'm zoomed in, but you can see it. We've got these two units, 12th Virginia, West Virginia, A and B, 2 battalions sitting up here as another block, and we also have the cavalry that was down here blocking Gordon, pulling back up so that they can help out in a defense back up here. The second one here has moved back and going to provide a little flank defense off the west side of Pritchard's Hill over there if needed. So Union took quite a blow, lost a unit, counting towards the combat ineffective division, but there's quite a few units that need to be knocked out for the division to be hit. We've actually got 2 units already, but we've got, you know, a lot more still out here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know, so a total of 11. So we're going to have to get 6 of them knocked out, at least, depending upon how they reform and such. We've only got 2, so we've got to get 4 more. So Early's got to get moving on that. But making good progress up the road. Hopefully catch some of these victory hexes and get a couple of points off of here. I'm getting a little worried about that over there as well. But we'll see how it goes along. Meanwhile, moving just a little bit to the east, we see Jones has moved up and looks to flank the 110th Ohio, which is broken down into its battalions. And they exchange a little fire over here with the Confederates taking the worst of it. The 25th Virginia here actually was reduced and disordered over here. That Jones has to get them back in order. But these guys have come around the flank, so I have a feeling that these guys are going to need to be moving pretty soon. Meantime, let me zoom you back out here to give you the full picture here. Meantime, Milroy has consolidated some of Ely's troops over here on the crest of this hill to provide some sort of defensive position to block or put a roadblock up here for them. I have a feeling they're going to have to retreat pretty soon. We're going to have to watch out. These are guns right there. Going to have to watch out for them being stuck behind too much. But they're providing some good fire across here. Took a couple shots, missed of course, but you know, they've got a good flanking fire on them in there as well. Walker, still in attack mode, has moved up. They look to next turn to engage them, hopefully knock some of them out, hopefully to you know, reduce rout and demoralize troops as much as possible. Getting a little bit worried because they're having to engage rather than move, but they'll have some support of Andrew's guns back here to give some shots in there as well. So hopefully they can break that a little bit loose and hopefully take an attack and then dodge over here to link up with Jones over here to see what they can do. The one little tricky part over here, which has been a bit of a problem, is this guy over here, Williams, kind of stuck over here at Buffalo Lick Run crossing. Ely has taken 1 regiment and posted it up on the hills and is effectively blocking him because he's out of command. Johnson is way over here and he's got a command range of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well short of connecting up with him and ordering him. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation, you know, for them. Even if I move Johnson over, I don't think he would have enough command points, command range to get over to all of his units to get them into an attack mode and try to push them off. So because of that, the Union still holds this position. It's wiped out over here, but they get 2 points for that now because it's 2 p.m. Turn. So they got 2 points, which brings their victory points up to 10 victory points so far. So hopefully they can knock him out. Probably rifle fire next turn. We'll have to see. So Johnson's attack, you know, he's trying to press on there, but getting a little bit stretched out in terms of the command. So we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully Early can help push up here and get Gordon into the action and really get up in there and break up the Union defense over there. Meanwhile, the Union just needs to hold on, provide roadblocks, speed bumps, so forth, to the Confederate advance. So that's what we looked like at the end of the 2 p.m. 1400 turn. We'll be moving on to 1500 and see where we go. After this, we'll have 1500, 16, 3 more turns for the end. So Confederates really need to push up here, try to get some of these units knocked out, and the Union just needs to hold on. So once again, great scenario so far. Still very tense, still anybody's game at this point, but we'll see how the last 3 turns go. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye. Okay, welcome back to
160th anniversary playthrough, Second Battle of Winchester, prelude to the Gettysburg. We're playing here with Death Valley, Battles for the Shenandoah, particularly the expansion for that. And we are up to, we just finished 1500 turn, 3 p.m. And pretty dramatic changes here, which I'll show you here in a second. With this, and first off, giving you kind of overview. The Confederates won the initiative again. So I think out of the, let's see, 5 turns we played. The Confederates have had the initiative 4 times now. They automatically the first one, and the Federals just once. So Confederates have had the advantage on the initiative, which has been helpful and very good. Although the Federals are still in it, I will say, and I'll explain at the end when it comes to the victory conditions. So with Confederates winning the initiative, I'm going to bring you over here to the chits, activation chits, like I've been doing, and show you the efficiencies. Real good turn for both. Both got the 3 initiatives come up. So with the Union automatically modified to 4 for Milroy, excuse me. Brain slip there. Milroy, and for the Confederates, Johnson gets 3. No modifier there, but Early, who is in command, got the extra +1, so we got 4 this turn. So that was useful, and we had a lot of AMs and a lot going on here, as you can see from here. So to start off, Confederates picked Early to lead it off, and that was good. He was able to really push down the Valley Pike, as we'll see here in a moment. Then he got fortunate to get his 2nd AM coming out of there, so double whammy follow-up here really pushed Elliott's brigade, or blocking brigade, back up the road. So we'll see that. Then we had Milroy recovering from Early's attacks. Then we had Johnson getting ready on his attacks. Then Milroy again, which was actually good for Milroy because he could actually regroup some of his units and recover and form yet another defensive line. Then as we move down our list here, we had both the other Johnson AMs come out. Again, helpful for Johnson. He pushed with Williams and Walker, as well as the artillery, to really dislodge Eli's troops. And then we came back with Early again, which again, double punch there. Gordon got into the mix there. Did incur some fatigue, but did get into the mix there as well, followed by Milroy at the very end to recover. So that was the order of battle. I won't say order of battle, but order of activations. That's the word I'm looking for. Swinging you over here, and I notice there's a little bit of glare here. We're going to have to adjust. There we go. There we go. I have spotlights down when I'm actually playing, and then I forget to turn them up when I'm showing you everything. So here's the situation. You can see smack dab in the middle of the board. The fighting has really culminated up the roads. We have Kernstown just off the map to the south. We have the toll booth right here, Valley Pike, Old Front Royal Road, and then way over there is the Front Royal Road heading up to Millwood Pike up there. So first, starting off with Early, as I said, Early was down here at this stage, just off camera here. Let me just tilt you back a little bit. There we go. He started right about here at this point, and if you remember, Gordon was marching up this way. While Early was in command, Ewell was sitting actually, I think, over here.
was able to move up a couple of hexes over here before, but was in command. Both Hayes and Gordon were in command, so they could move effectively. Start off with Hayes, again, pushing out Elliott's troop, which wound up way back here. They got pushed back, probably close to a mile back up here when everything was said and done. But they were able to slowly push them up the road and push them to the left. This allowed Gordon, who, remember, was down here, to actually snake up and around the right side of Hayes and deploy to hit that second line of troops back here. And that's what he did at the back end of the turn, or back end of the activations for the turn. And got a good push and, pushed back one battalion of the 12th West Virginia. The other battalion stayed strong. Now with this too, Gordon did not come out of it unscathed. The 26th Georgia was disordered and actually lost a strength point underneath there as well. On there, it's been a lot of Confederate misses. If it's been one thing here, a lot of the firing by Hayes's units here was very weak firing against Elliott's unit here. It wasn't until Herbert over here, who was positioned right about in here someplace, fired on Elliott that he disrupted him, and that really caused him to retreat and fall back. And eventually Hayes was able to catch up with him and kind of go from there. He did get an extra fatigue. I'll talk about that later. And actually, I should say, ultimately, that unit, which I think is over here. Yeah, he's over here. Let me just arrange this, and I'll flip you over to the second camera so that you can see this. It's going to be kind of a mobile camera. Because we see right here, if I put your right side up, there we go. Here was that other battalion, 123rd. It routed. It actually collapsed. It went down to, eventually got down to 2 strength points, but it was collapsed and routed as part of this. So it really fell off pretty quickly. Another thing I'll make note of is here as well, the 18th Connecticut lost one of its battalions. That's part of Ely's troops, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but I figured I'd show you while I had it on there. So that is kind of what happened over here with Hayes and Gordon pushing up here, really punching through with Elliott. So much so that you see the two squadrons of 12th PA cavalry abandon their attempt to retake Pritchard's Hill. They had to come back here to defend back here to prevent these points. It would have been nice to capture it, but it just wasn't going to be in the cards because they couldn't get enough firepower on them, as well as they couldn't really charge them because they were out of command. So it's a tough situation here because right now it's only cavalry right here, because Elliott is now sitting on the cavalry because that whole 123rd Ohio is routed completely. They're heading back into Winchester someplace there. So he's got cavalry here. He's got the 12th West Virginia over here. But that's it to defend the road against 2 full brigades of Confederate troops. So it should be interesting. I think Confederates will potentially, push these guys aside. Now they do need to get some more points by making brigades combat ineffective. Not sure they're going to be able to do it with Elliott. Elliott has so many regiments or so many battalions that he may not do it. They've got a better chance with Ely, which I'll explain when I get over to that side of the board. So with that said, that kind of shows what happens over here. Ewell back here repositioned a little bit to stay in command with Early and Johnson over here. Now it's going to be interesting with Ewell because at some point here, these guys are going to have to move up to keep up with the range here. They're going to have to pick and choose which way he goes after him. So that's going to be an interesting decision. So moving over to the east side of the board, we have Johnson's attack, and Johnson's attack is really culminated, because if you notice, Ewell's troops with Milroy were positioned here, but Walker's Stonewall Brigade was able to dislodge them from the Confederate right flank, Union left flank. They were able to disorder that unit that was there. That made them flee. Eventually, Milroy's unit had to flee as well, and then it was a matter of just pulling out and trying to save the guns over here. Now, that position was fairly strong for the moment because they did hold up Jones a little bit. Jones had a couple of units that were disordered over here, and it took them a while to get them back up to speed. But Jones is now up online, and he's now facing the rest of Elliott's units over here. There's one regiment here broken down into 2 battalions, and then there's a couple of the cavalry from the 12th and the 13th Pennsylvania holding out over there. But there's a good chance that they'll push through. Hopefully get up here. This is the victory hex they've got to capture. Oh, just off the map, isn't it? Tilt you up here a minute. That right where that collapsed cavalry unit is right there. That's where they've got to get to. I should have mentioned, I think I mentioned, here's the toll house over here. This is where Early's got to get to, and then hopefully up to these hills. We'll see. We've only got 2 turns to do it, so it's going to be tough, but we'll see. So that was Jones. We've got the artillery under Andrews. Over here, they have set up on this hill. They were bombarding over here, from here, and that contributed to helping out with the fight. I think they're going to move up and help Jones over here, as well as continue up and take positions here to kind of break away Milroy as much as possible from Winchester, so that they can move up there as well. So as I said, with Ewell's troops, they were up here, heavy attack by Walker. You can see Walker made it through pretty much unscathed. They did have, I think they got a strength loss here. I'd have to go back and check the video. And I think they got a strength loss over here from the fight. And there was some disorders, but obviously we recovered with the high cohesion that they had within there. Williams, the prior turn, was able to move up and get into position where he could get himself back in command over here. And he is just in command, so he'll be in command again this turn, or he'll be in command this turn. He wasn't in command last turn, excuse me. But he was able to get his units up because these guys had to pull back. Once Walker's units had flanked them, they were going to be flanked. So they positioned, I think initially it was here to try to block the road, but with everybody retreating here, they're going to push back and try to hold the intersection where Front Royal and Millwood Pike as a final stand over there. But they'll be out of command for that as well. As you can see, there's a couple of collapsed units up here, and that's where I was saying before, this unit is part of Eli's brigade. That's collapsed. He has got one that's routed already, so there's 2 units. Now in total there's 1, 2, 3, and then we've got 4 and 5, 4 here. Okay, we've got 4 over here that are not collapsed. This is artillery over here, so that won't count. So 2 of them, 2 out of the 6 are routed or collapsed. If 1 more goes, then there's going to be, actually 2 more goes, there's going to be trouble, and they'll be brigade ineffective, and that'll give 5 points to the Confederates and whittle down on the totals, because the Union right now is holding strong with 10 victory points. There will be some cavalry losses here, here and here for the Union. There was a couple unfortunate cavalry losses for the, where is it, right, no, that's not it. Where is he? Oh, here he is, right here, the 16th Virginia. So the Union will go up a couple points. Confederates will get a few points there as well. So it's pretty close. Looking at the totals right now, Union 12, Confederates 5. So there's a 7-point gap in between there. A brigade ineffective, Ely becomes ineffective, would give 5 points to the Confederates. There's 10 points, so there's a deficit of 2. And then these will be 1, 1, 1 for each turn that they're captured by the Confederates. So there's a good chance the Confederates can do it. They've got to keep pushing, and the Union's got to keep holding them off. So well balanced from the standpoint of the way the battle has been going so far. I don't think either side has had a good advantage. Confederates had some rather bad luck. If they had some good luck, it could be a little bit different. But they've had some bad luck with some of their shooting. But they still were able to get through their objectives to keep pushing back the Union, because the Union just has only 1 or 2 regiments to go up against a brigade of units, which is crazy. It's just overwhelming. So they've got to do the best to just present speed bumps to the Confederates and slow them down, and hopefully win over time, with this. But it's a fascinating scenario. I highly recommend if you don't have this, it's definitely one to put on your list to play at some point in time, because it is very challenging. Again, a meeting engagement, even though the Union is already on the board, but there's just so much area that they've got to cover, and Confederates come in 3 positions that it makes it very, very interesting. So with that brings us to the end of turn 1500, 3 p.m. We'll be moving on to 1400 or 1600, 4 p.m. And then we'll have that one 4 p.m. and then 5 p.m. 1700, and that's it. So it's going to be a tight one here. So stay tuned to see what happens. Once again, 160 playthrough. Second Battle of Winchester using the Death Valley system. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Thanks a lot.